Let's go out to the Boxer and Gerson guest line. Introduce Chris Rose, host at NFL Network, Jomboy Media. You can also check out the Chris Rose Rotation podcast. Chris, we've had you on before. We love to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. How you guys doing?
We're doing good. We're looking at the NFC playoff picture, and we can talk some Browns in a little bit. But when we talk about the Niners, they feel like overwhelming favorites to get to the Super Bowl. Is that a good thing?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I understand, guys, like why fans hate it. You're like, oh, my God, now there's so much pressure on us. We just saw what happened with Green Bay and Dallas and all that. Like, I understand that. I don't think that has any effect on players. I really don't. I don't think they sit there and they go, oh, yeah, we're the huge favorites. Like, yeah, of course. Well, we're just going to waltz through. I mean, they don't think that way. They really don't. I think for the most part, they do not think that way. I think they are singularly focused. My guess is, if anything, because they didn't play Green Bay earlier in the year, but they had played Dallas, they probably now know how impressive that young group, particularly on the offensive side of the football, is. So I really don't think it matters that much.
Hey, Chris, I was telling my co-host and the listeners here, I think the world of, Kyle Shanahan. I think he should have had a Super Bowl in 19. I criticized him for his play calling at the end of that game, up 10 against Kansas City. And I know he's got the contract to where he's not going anywhere anytime soon. But when you look at the landscape, Chris, of the NFL right now, and what they have at their disposal, offensively, defensively, as a fan, can I say, you know what, Kyle? If you don't get it done here, when will you get it done? Is that fair?
Yeah, I do think that part is fair, and I'm a huge Shanahan fan. I mean, you guys know it. I'm a Browns fan, but I love watching the Niners probably more than any team out there. I just think that he's so creative. I love the way that he utilizes every playmaker that he's got. But yeah, if they don't win it this year, then I do think that at some point it's time to start thinking a little bit about it, right? I mean, they moved on from Jimmy G, and they drafted Trey Lance in part because they felt like they were a little short somewhere. And now they've got a guy who a lot of people think is pretty good, right, at quarterback. Is he Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson or Josh? No, he's not that. But he's pretty damn good in a really, really fascinating system. But you know what? Let's not. I wouldn't go down that road until however it plays out this year. Send those positive vibes.
Yeah, that's the difference between my partner and me. We're very different, and when he panics about, well, if they don't do it this year, then when are they going to do it? I said, well, I'll bet you right now that Kyle Shanahan will win a Super Bowl as a head coach in the NFL at some point. He won't make that bet with me. You know what I'm saying? So, like, this is his latest opportunity, but, man, it feels like he's going to be a coach for a long, long time and probably has a few more in him. The one thing I wanted to ask you, we were batting this around today. Is, Kyle Shanahan's kind of proven he's one of the great play callers and offensive minds. The Kansas City Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes. Would you rather have Patrick Mahomes for the next 8 to 10 years as your quarterback or Kyle Shanahan as your head coach?
Well, it depends who's calling Mahomes' plays.
Shanahan. I guess it can't be Shanahan in that situation.
No, right? So it's like part of the reason, and I'm a huge Mahomes guy. I just love watching him play. I'm just such a fan of his. But he has grown up with Andy Reid, right? How much different would his career be if he was elsewhere? Part of the thing about Josh Allen is that he's now had several different offensive coordinators in his span, and the criticism of him is, well, why can't he just consistently be like Patrick Mahomes, right? Why does he always lead the league in turnovers or is always up there? Why, Mahomes has had remarkable consistency at the most important position in the sport as far as coaching, play caller, right? And direction of the offense. So, and even in a year where things haven't gone silky smooth, here they are. They're one win from being in their 6th straight AFC Championship game. That's pretty remarkable stuff. So to answer your question, I do think Shanahan's really, I think he's so different. I mean, to be able to get to where he's gone in terms of championship games and a Super Bowl with guys who aren't at the top of the line when you're selecting quarterbacks is pretty special. So, but I'm not moving off of Mahomes. Sorry, guys. You tried to get me off of Mahomes. I'm not moving off of Mahomes.
No, the reason I think we think it's interesting is because they both, in their own ways, seem to ensure at least a certain amount of success.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And that should be appreciated. I mean, I know it's hard because at the end of the day, particularly in San Francisco, when you have 5 trophies up there, that's what you want. That's how you're not measured by 12 or 13 win seasons and NFC Championship game appearances. I mean, believe me, like in my city, we were happy because we won 11 games and made the playoffs with 5 different starting quarterbacks. How we measure success and how you guys measure success are 2 totally different things. So I understand it, but it does have to be appreciated as well.
Chris, I feel like we're family because I've talked to you. I've been following you since Best Damn Sports Show.
Nice.
My dad's from East Texas. I'm a diehard Cowboy fan, born and raised in the Bay, so I'm objective. I don't know who had a worse weekend, you or I, but are you giving the Packers, who shocked me in the world, a chance against the Niners, or was that just a byproduct of bad coaching in Dallas all the way around and the Packers took advantage of them? I just don't see them bringing that against the Niners.
Well, let me start with the easy thing. You had a way worse weekend than I did. Way worse. Listen,
I did.
It sucks when your team loses. Like, so when the Browns, it hurt Saturday afternoon when the Browns lost, but we had a ton of injuries and we led the league in turnovers. The fact we won 11 games and made the playoffs was pretty remarkable. You all had the 2 seed in your hand. In fact, kind of hand delivered to you against Detroit, and you couldn't win 1 game, let alone 2. So you had a way worse weekend. Now, to answer your other question, I cannot believe that Dallas could not score a point before Green Bay scored 27 of them against the Joe Barry coach defense.
Wow.
I'm not here to rip on Joe Barry, but he definitely is. I don't love the way that he calls defenses, and I think that Kyle Shanahan is going to pick that apart.
Yes.
I expect them to run out the gate, all sorts of different formations, some end arounds, get the ball to McCaffrey. And if they don't score on their first possession, I would be shocked and set the tone. And that's going to be the wake-up call to say, hey, listen, you're not in Dallas anymore. You're out here in the Bay Area.
Reality, Steiny.
Yeah, Chris Rose joining us on 95.7 The Game. He joins us on the Boxer and Gerson guest line. He's the host at NFL Network and Jomboy Media. You can also check out the Chris Rose Rotation podcast. Who's the biggest threat out there to the San Francisco 49ers? Can I assume you think it's an AFC team?
Yes, I do. I do think Detroit's going to beat Tampa Bay. And I think you guys will take care of Green Bay. And I love what Dan Campbell's done, right? Who can't appreciate it? He is real. He is authentic. He is more than the biting the kneecap guy. Right. He's really created a fun group of guys there and they've had tremendous turnover since he and Brad Holmes have joined forces 3 years ago, and they've done a great job. I still think they're a little short against elite teams. I think they're real, but the fact that they were able to dismiss the Rams, I got to be honest with you. I think the Rams are the one team that the Niners didn't want to play.
I agree.
They won't come out and say that, but I think with as frequently as they play them, with as much crossover as there has been with these coaching staffs, with as well as McVay and Shanahan know one another, that to me would have been the possible pothole en route to the Super Bowl. And yeah, I just don't. But I don't see anybody else slowing them down.
Yeah, I'm with you. My partner called the Rams before the playoffs started the sexy pick, and he was right. I thought they might have a little kryptonite.
Yeah.
But Chris, let me ask you about the Niners D. That was some material, Chris. I got to ask you.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, you
Thank
and
you.
Jones.
Easy there, by the way. Come on, you know how much.
My producer helped me with that one.
You know how much time I had to spend with my therapist this week based on all that? My
Chris.
God, we made it on Jimmy Kimmel last night.
Hey, dude, it was so great. But walk us through that in real time when you realize, were you mad at Jones Drew? Did you understand?
No.
And had you been there before?
So, listen, when you do these shows and when you fly enough live hours, as I like to say, you're always going to say something
right
where you're like, okay, yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that. So the minute he gave me the what look, I was like, and that's why you heard me say on the back end, defense. Right. Like everybody knew what I was talking about. Everybody who is a sports fan knew exactly what I was talking about. Now, should I have completed the sentence with defense? Absolutely. In fact, in the middle of the segment, we went to some interview, and I turned to him and I went, really, dude? And he's like, well, what am I supposed to do with that? I was like, I get it, but you could have just kept going or something. But it was perfect the way it ended up, and it was hilarious. And I almost want to get T-shirts printed with the look on his face.
Oh,
I have
boy.
now that whenever he calls me, that's the picture that pops up on my phone.
That's
is
great.
stare at me.
Well, Chris, and it sounds to me like you and I are trying to suffer this infantile sophomoric behavior from people. They read into things that just good. Let's keep it mature. No, hey, that was pretty funny. You handled it great. We appreciate you, and playoffs should be a lot of fun this weekend.
Yeah, this is the best weekend of the NFL because presumably you have the 8 best teams. I still think Dallas was one of the 8 best teams, but whatever. I mean, listen, I'm not going to – I love watching Green Bay play, and I think those kids are great. I think their time runs out this weekend against you guys, and you should enjoy.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it.
Take it easy, man.
All right, guys, take care.
That's Chris Rose, courtesy of the Boxer and Gerson guest line.